Okay, we're gonna give everyone a minute just to join in. But while we wait, let's do a quick sound check. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Nice. We got a lot of people piling in. So while we wait another 30 seconds for everyone to hop in, just drop in where you're calling in from. See where we got people at. DC, Florida, Indiana. Can't keep up. New Mexico, Charlotte, Carville, Tennessee. I was just in Carville, Tennessee for Easter with my family. St. Louis, Wyoming, Los Angeles, Las Vegas. Be there soon for some conferences. Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, by any chance? That's where I'm at now. Um, Colorado, Bama, Mississippi, all over. We got people from all over the US and the world, actually. We got a lot of people in Canada too, it looks like. Um, okay. So I think we got about almost 100 people in this group right now. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to thank everyone for joining us for March's monthly recap webinar. If you aren't used to this series, in this series, we talk about all the new features that we released in the last month, but also talk about some of the new features coming up. And if there's some time, we also get feedback on certain things that we want to know more about, which I do have as something I want to talk about today, which is notifications and how we can get them under control. But we'll save that for the end. So real quick, actually, let me take this live if we haven't gone live yet. Okay, looks like it is going live now in our Facebook group. Perfect. So let's go ahead and get started talking about some of the new updates that came out this March. I'm going to share my screen. Screen up. Okay. So can you guys see my window? Okay, perfect. All right, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat while I go through this. I'd love to get feedback on the features that we're releasing, any ideas, any ways we can make them better. So let's first get started by talking about a feature that a lot of people have been waiting for. It's something small, but it makes a big deal. So if you guys don't use accounting period yet, accounting period allows you to categorize what period of time the work is for. So you can actually see it here on some of these projects. So we've always had these accounting periods for months, quarters, years, and weeks, but now you can do it on a bi-weekly basis. So now when you are creating work, let's create a project. We'll just do it from scratch for this example. Say monthly bookkeeping. You will have the ability to select an accounting period on a bi-weekly basis. So what happens is it will automatically select a 14-day or 2-week period. So let's say it's, every 2 weeks, first to the 14th. Now you'll create the accounting period on a bi-weekly basis. So I can apply this. Let me create that work. Now you can see it's April 1st to the 14th accounting period on the work. And I believe I covered this in the last webinar, but I just want to also reiterate, we also have the ability to filter by accounting period now. So if you want to filter to see all your bi-weekly work for a certain period of time, like the period we selected, you can now filter and view that information. So bi-weekly accounting period and the ability to filter by accounting period are both some new features that we've recently released. Okay, let's see, it looks like nope, already answered. Okay, so no questions on that. That's pretty simple and straightforward. We are working on adding some other accounting period. So real quick, drop it in the chat. Are we missing any other accounting periods? I think semi-monthly is one of them. But is there any other accounting periods that you guys want to see added that aren't in there right now? Semi-monthly. Okay. Shannon, I'm going to be reaching out to you because I want to better understand semi-monthly. We're trying to figure that one out, but it sounds like that is the last one we're missing. Okay. Let's see. Custom date range. We can't do a custom date range for accounting period, unfortunately. Okay, so let's go to the next thing. So the next thing is we updated the client groups filter. So before when you filtered for client groups, so if you don't use client groups are custom groups that you can create for your clients. These groups can be anything, right? You can have a client group for geographic location, work type. Let's say maybe one of your clients has a holding co with sub companies underneath it. You could create a group for that sub co. So as you can see here, like I have a client group called ABC Holding Company. And you create the client groups really on your client list. So like let's say I want to see all the sub companies of ABC Holding Co. I can easily do that. Or I want to see my 1040 clients. But now what you have is you can you can filter to be where it has to be in both groups. So before when you filtered your client list, let's say in this example, ABC Holding Co., it has all these clients. And then you also had your 1040 clients. If you selected both options, it would just have all the clients in both lists, right? So if I filtered for 1040 clients and ABC Holding Co., it's going to list all the 1040 clients, and then it's going to list all the ABC Holding Co. clients. But now you have this filter, which you can apply, which will only show clients that are in both groups. So if I select this, now it's only showing 3 clients because only these 3 clients are in both ABC Holding Co. client group and the 1040 client group. So that's a new filter that you can use to have a deeper visibility into clients that are in multiple groups or are in the exact same or in all the groups selected, right? So if I select another client group, no one's showing because I don't have clients in all 3 of these groups. And this filter is also used on the workflow dashboard. So you can use it here with the client groups filter. Any questions about this new update here? Okay, looks like just some people that love it. Okay, exclude tags. Okay, so there is some feedback here about excluding tags, which we also have this for tags. For example, waiting on client information or in review. You can have the same thing. So it has to have both tags. But someone is given some thoughts on, can you have it to where it excludes a tag? And that is something we are working on as well, we have on the roadmap. Perfect. Okay, so let's go on to the next thing. This next one was one we've been getting a lot of feedback on, and it's about decluttering your task view. So if you use your task view, there's a lot of tasks here. This view in general needs some love, which we do plan to update it and make it better. But we did one quick fix that really helps declutter this view. And what we did was now we hide dependent tasks. So before this update, if you use this view and you had a dependent task, it would be grayed out. So it would be still displayed, but it's grayed out. However, there might be a lot of dependent tasks, and we were finding that a lot of firms were having a bunch of grayed out tasks here. They wanted to be able to declutter it. So now we actually hide them. So if you don't use dependent tasks, task dependencies, so let's just do this example here. So I can make this task dependent on this task. So what that does is that won't let me complete this task until this task is done. So let me do that real quick. Actually, let me do just to label this better. Okay. So let me set a dependency on this. So it's dependent on task 1. So now I can't complete this task until this task is completed. When I do, it prevents me from doing it. But also, when I complete it, then I can complete this task, right? There's a confetti bomb. So if since this task is dependent on this, if we went to like our task view, this task would not be displayed on this view until this task is completed. So let's actually do an example. Depend test. So let's go to task view and test. So you can see now there's only task 1 being displayed. But when I complete this, now task 2 is being displayed because it was dependent, so it's now visible on the view. So that is how the new task dependencies work on the task view to help declutter that view. Mindy, unfortunately, it's not optional. It is required right now. But if it is something people really want, like if we're seeing that it's becoming a problem, people want this to be optional, it is something that we could make optionable in the future. Okay, so let's go into the next update. Um, this was a big one. So what we found, if you are using Adobe Sign e-signature integration with our system, I'll show you two things. So two things. So if you have documents stored on the client's profile, so now you can request e-signatures from this view. So before, to request an e-signature, you would have to do it on a project with a client task. So you could have a request signature. You would have to do it here. But now you can request signatures from documents on the client. So let's go into this one, for example. Like let's say this W-2. I want to get it signed. I can actually now request a signature from here. I don't have to do it on the client tasks. So this also goes into our next update. So if you're requesting a signature here or on a client task, you can now include your team members to sign or yourself. So before, what would happen sometimes is the firm owner or someone on the team would want to sign the document as well, not just the client. Like the client signs it, and then the team member would need to finalize the sign as well afterwards. You weren't able to do that, but now you can select team members to sign that document as well. So then, let's say I select the contacts, and then when I go to Adobe to set up the signatures, I can choose a team member to sign in certain specific areas. So now your team members can sign, and you also can send signatures from the client's profile on the documents. Okay. Yes, Molly. So for those of you that don't use Adobe Signature, if they when they sign the document, what will happen? The signed copy will appear here on the client's profile. If you do it in the client tasks, the signed document will also appear on the client task, and it should also sync back to Adobe Sign. Okay. Let's go into the next feature. Um, Folder sharing notifications. Hold on, there's another question. Okay. So this is a big one. So about a month or so ago, we released a new update where you can share folders with clients. So if you use our client portal for client requests, now you can also use our client portal to share folders and documents, or they can upload documents to those folders as well. So let's say on this example, the client's profile, let's go back to the Files tab. Here, you can see all these folders. You can share folders with the client. So when inside the portal, let's see if I'm still logged in, the client will be able to view those folders that are shared with them. And they can view all the documents in those folders. And they can also, if given permission, upload documents to those folders. It's a great place to store archived documents. Now, one of the new updates we've done is when you're sharing a folder. So when we released this, the notifications weren't as robust yet. We got a lot of really good feedback, and we've made a lot of those changes now. So now when you share a folder with a client, there's a few things you can do. So you can see that the whole notification system is different now. You can choose if you want them to just be able to view the documents, upload and view the documents, but also when let's say I share this folder with a client, I can choose whether to notify them when documents are being uploaded to that folder. So if I share this folder, and let's say I select this, now, since I selected it, if I upload new documents here, they'll get notified each time a new document is uploaded to the folder. But if I don't want them to be notified when I upload documents, I can just select that so they don't get notified when I upload new documents to that same shared folder. So that's one of the changes. The other big change now is you can choose which team members get notified when the client uploads documents. So before, how it was anyone assigned the client would be notified when the client uploads documents to the folder. But now you can see all these people are assigned this client, so they're all selected here. But now what you can do is choose which team members on your team get notified when the client uploads documents to this specific folder. So you so not everyone on your team is getting notified. You're not getting notified. Only the people that need to know get notified when the client uploads documents. And then the third and final update is when you are sharing a folder with a client. Well, so I've already shared this. So when I'm sharing, let's say I share this folder with a client, I can choose whether I want to notify them when I share the folder. So you maybe want to share a folder with a client, but don't want to notify them. So you can choose just to share it or to share and notify them. So let's go back and recap those three big updates to notifications. You can now decide if you want them to be uploaded when documents are uploaded to a share folder. So choose whether or not the client gets notified when documents are uploaded to the share folder. That's one. Two is you can choose which team members get notified when the client uploads documents to the specific folder. And three, when you're sharing the folder, you can choose whether to notify the client when you share that folder. Okay. Are there any questions about the new folder sharing notifications? Can we chat with clients outside the client tasks? Um, so there isn't a way to chat with clients outside the client tasks yet, but that is on the roadmap. We plan to create like a universal chat uh, place to communicate with your clients if you prefer to do so. Yes, Missy, that's why it's notifying every team member right now. So now you should be able to fix that. This was a big one. I think a lot of people were not implementing this feature because we didn't have these notification settings from the feedback we were getting. They were waiting for this because they didn't want their client to get all those notifications and they didn't want their team to get all these notifications. And now you can control that when you share those folders. There's only notification when the client uploads a document, not when they download a document. Chris, so the notifications are not, so notifications for client tasks are project specific, but these folders are on the client profile. They're not related to a project. So these the notifications for each of these folders can be specific to the folder. So you get that customization, but it's not on a project level, it's on a folder level, if that makes sense. Um, When it was implemented, it added all. Missy, let me look into that. Um, Ability to unselect them in bulk. I'm gonna make a note to add that to my list. Okay, is there ability to target client tasks to their specific team members? Tracy, yes, there is, but I have to look at how to do that because it is a little bit different. Um, uh, I'll make a note to follow up with you. Notify option is only firm files, not client. Yes, the notify option is only firm files right now. Mm. So Rachel, if you want, so when you're sharing, you can click that share icon and choose which team members here get notified. Let's see, a lot of good questions. So, this, Sean, there isn't a backup on shared files on our end yet, but that's something I'll get into with our Google and OneDrive integration. There will be ability to back up all the files inside Financial Sense to Google and OneDrive with that integration, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. Let's see. Also notice that when I add docs to the tasks, you don't go that Tracy, that is correct, which that is something we're going to be working on. I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Okay, so it looks like there's 3 more questions in Q&A. One, two. Clients can download documents and view documents in the client portal, but you don't get notified when they view or download documents, Susan. Um, uh, that's for that. So Donna, if you are using Smart Vault, there is so we do have with our integration where you can access Smart Vault from inside Financial Sense, but also if clients upload documents to the client tasks feature, it will store those in Smart Vault under a Financial Sense file. However, these documents will not be stored inside Smart Vault. So these notifications will come through like all the notifications, same emails we do for all our client tasks and everything. It's going to be like a no reply at financialsense.com or app. I don't know the exact email, but it's the same email that we use for client tasks. It won't come through like your specific email. It will show your firm's name and everything in the subject line and as the alias, but the actual email will be a no reply. Okay. So that goes into a little bit more about one of our next things. Let me see, which is I want to talk a little bit more about why we're making a lot of improvements to this, right? So right now, you've been seeing we release the ability to share documents. We've added it easier to move documents between different folders. We're working on the notifications. Soon in the future, we're going to be releasing a documents tab. So picture, you have workflow, email, clients, and documents, right? And inside this documents tab, you will be able to see all like you'll have an internal firm files folder. So internal documents or folders for your firm. But then below that, you'll also have all your clients listed out as folders. So it's similar to this dashboard view, right? Where you have all your clients listed, but it's going to be folders. And then in there, you'll be able to access firm documents. You'll be able to access client documents. So it'll basically be synced with this file section, but we're going to add a lot more robust functionality. So just basically giving you more of an online document management system inside Financial Sense. And in the future, we're going to add more functionality to that. But that should actually be released in this next quarter. And that's why we've been making a lot of improvements to this. Also, one big improvement that's going to come to it, and come with it is, and I saw some people ask this, is centralizing all your documents in one place. So what we've seen is a lot of people are storing documents on tasks or projects, or they're stored on the client tasks, and they don't know where they're at. Like they come here to try to find the document, they don't see it. They go look on the project, they don't see that document. So we want to really unify all the documents in one place, and it's going to allow us to do that. So picture like when you click into a client's folder, you will see all the folders you have for that client, but you'll also see project and task attachments. So all the documents that you attach to projects and tasks, but you'll also be able to see client uploads on client tasks. So you have one place to go to see all the documents around the system. And that's going to make it easier to find those documents. It's going to keep your firm more organized and allow your team to access the information that they need to access. Okay, so let's see. Go to see. So Christelle, if you inside the app, you should see a roadmap tab here under updates. You can see all of our recent updates in chronological order. So that's a good place to stay up to date on things. However, we are working on creating an adoption program that basically from a bird's eye view, you can kind of see all the functionality of Financial Sense and what your firm is and is not utilizing, which will help you understand where you're underutilizing Financial Sense and where you can improve if you want to better adopt the platform inside your firm. So that is something we're working on because with all the updates we're making, we realize that it can be hard for some firms to stay on top of that. So that's something that's going to really help you better utilize the platform for your firm. Tracy, yes, they will be named with the original task that they were stored on. And that's something we plan to do in Q2 as well. To start bringing files in. Sean, yes, if you start storing documents on Financial Sense, the client cannot and will not be able to see any of the documents unless you manually go in here and share it with those individual contacts on the client. Okay. Okay, answered. So let's go into the next thing, which is also ties into the client portal. So now inside Financial Sense, if you use our client task portal, we have some people that use the portal and they don't want their clients to be able to communicate with them in this section, right? They just want the clients to comment on the tasks, but they don't want them to use the chat. You can now disable this. If you go to Financial Sense under settings, company, scroll down to automations and settings, there will be a disable client chat. If I select this, you can see now the chat is no longer there. So the clients cannot chat with you in this box. However, the clients can still comment on individual tasks, but there isn't just a free form chat for them anymore. So if you do use the client task portal and you don't want clients to communicate in that, you can now turn that off. We had a lot of users that didn't want that functionality, and that can now be removed. Okay, so those were the major updates this last month. And now I want to talk about a lot of some of the updates that are coming this quarter and also get some feedback on some of them. Before I move forward, does anyone have any questions about some of the features we covered? So what we covered were you now have bi-weekly accounting periods. You have strict filtering for client groups. So the client must be in both groups. Dependent tasks are now hidden on the task view. You can request signatures from the client files section. You can allow team members to sign documents with these signature requests. We've updated share folder notifications, so you can choose not to notify clients when you upload documents to a shared folder. You can choose not to notify a client when you share a folder initially as well. And you can choose which team members get notified when a client uploads documents to a shared folder. And then lastly, you can disable the chat in the client portal. So those were the major updates from this last month. Kira, are the features covered under the tutorial section? These features are not covered currently in the tutorial section. That section needs to be updated. If you share a folder, all subordinate files and subfolders are visible to the client. That is correct. If you share, let's see, if I go back, if I share a folder with a client, so let's say I'm going to create some subfolders. If I share this folder, now these folders are shared with the client. The subfolders and subdocuments will be shared in that folder. However, if you want, you can always go and unshare a specific document or folder, subfolder. within that folder structure if you don't want them all to be shared after the fact. You need to have Adobe Sign to use the e-signatures inside Financial Sense because it is a direct integration with them. So someone asked about the groups, just real quick, client groups, we now have strict filtering. So, or let's do it from here. So before, if you filtered for a client group or multiple, it would show all the clients in that group. But now you have a must be in all selected groups. So it's only going to show clients that are in both groups. You can find disable client chat in settings, company, and scroll down and see this option here. I've just re-enabled it. Okay. Let's see, I think. All right. So let's go now onto what's coming next. So I already talked a little bit about document management. Soon we're going to have a documents tab over here where you can store internal firm documents as well as view all your client documents in one unified place, keeping everything organized. And then we're going to add a bunch of function onto that over time. But we really just want to, I mean, when it comes to getting work done, which is our goal for firms, help you guys get work done, we know it takes a few things. You need to know what to do, you need to know how to do it, and you need to have the information to do that. And that means creating a place to easily access your documents and your team to be able to access your documents. And that is why we want to go a little bit deeper on that. The next big thing is the Google and OneDrive integration. So we have started to go into beta testing for Google and OneDrive, and we'll be doing a full release for that this quarter. To give you an idea of what you're going to be able to do with the Google and OneDrive integration. So when you integrate with a client, so let's say you integrate with Google Drive, our system's going to be able to easily match all your clients with all your Google Drive and OneDrive client folders if they're named similarly. When you do that, you'll be able to see a Google Drive icon under integrations. So actually, I have them here already. You can see. And then even on the work, you would see a Google and OneDrive icon as well. So when your team is working on the work, they'll be able to open that client's Google Drive folder from Financial Sense. So they would basically click it and it would take them into that OneDrive folder, right? Or Google Drive folder. So your team can easily access those documents. Now, that's not the only thing that will happen with the Google and OneDrive integration. If you add a new client in our system, it will automatically, if you have it turned on, create a new folder in Google Drive or OneDrive for that client. So if I add a new client, my team doesn't have to go and create those folders for the clients in our document management system. Another thing is if you turn this on as well, if a client uploads a document to a client task, you can automatically route the documents uploaded to client requests to your Google Drive and OneDrive folder as well. And then lastly is if you do the integration, you can back up all the documents on that client to Google Drive and OneDrive. So see all these, if we go back to the client, you'd be able to have all these documents backed up and copies of them on Google Drive or OneDrive. So that's coming with the Google OneDrive integration. We're currently in beta testing. It doesn't have all those capabilities in the beta test, but that we plan to release all of that in Q2. Let's see. There is no limit currently on document storage. And let's see. The first one, let's see. So when documents are stored in Financial Sense, can you drag and drop them to other folders outside of Financial Sense? I'm not exactly sure. I've never tried that functionality, to be honest. But it should be possible. We do plan to add share file in the future, but right now we're focused on Google Drive and OneDrive. So Diane, the documents sharing has is not related to Google Drive and OneDrive. It's even though we'll have our own document sharing system, we want to give you guys the ability to choose what works for your firm. You may want to have it all in one place on one platform, but you maybe want to still use Google Drive and OneDrive for whatever reason. So that's why we're just giving you the ability to integration. So you don't need to wait for the Google and OneDrive integration to start using the document management system and to using our sharing folder sharing system, because you may prefer our system over their system. So you can use them in unison, but you can also potentially replace them with our document management system. Dropbox is also on the list. We don't have a timeline for the Dropbox yet either. Okay, so we talked about document management. We talked about Google Drive and OneDrive. We talked about centralizing the documents, right? So having all your project and task attachments and your client attachments organized here so they're easier to find. Okay, so this is a big one. I think a lot of people are going to like. Soon, so you know how you have task automations where you can say when this task is completed, change this tag on the project or send an email to a client. Soon we're going to have a new automation here that's called create work. So when this task is completed, basically you can have a project be created automatically for that client. So let's say like maybe when this task in this example, maybe it's a client onboarding project. So when you complete this task in client onboarding, it may create a monthly bookkeeping project for that client automatically. So that's an automation we're going to be working to release soon this quarter. I think a lot of people really like that. Yes, Debbie, if you do the Google and OneDrive integration, you'll be able to back up all the files in Financial Sense to Google Drive and OneDrive. We don't have a virtual drive, but we do have that on the roadmap for next year. Can't wait to create more. Okay. So that's a big one. The other thing is I want to touch on recats. So if you haven't used recats yet, it's a new feature we released last month. Or yeah, it was basically last month, where it allows you to better manage uncategorized transactions. So we found that a lot of our users were spending a lot of time asking their clients about uncategorized transactions. They download to Excel sheet, send it in an email to the client, follow up to ask them what are these transactions for, then have to go update them in QBO. We released an update about around a month ago where now inside the client you can integrate it with QBO to where you can pull in all those uncategorized transactions and you can share them to the portal. So then your client can then tell you what the transaction is for. They can ask questions, they can upload documents and receipts. And all that comes back to Financial Sense. And then you can push those automatically to QBO. So you can categorize it, update it in QBO with the memo and the context and documents from the client. So it's just an easier way to streamline how you ask your clients about uncategorized transactions. And the best part is you also get automated reminders. So you don't have to constantly remind your client. It will automatically ask them about the transaction and follow up with them until they get it done. Now, we released this about a month ago. There's a lot of feedback on it because we just wanted to get a version out to see how we can make it better, get a lot of feedback. So there's a lot of big updates coming to this feature this month. I'm going to list some of those off. First is fixing the memo sync. So like whatever the client types in the memo, it will sync to the transaction in QBO and be on the memo. You'll be able to pick classes, tax codes, and mark it as billable. You'll be able to choose a specific time period that you want to import the transactions for. So we found that a lot of people had historic transactions that they didn't want to see. So you can choose a period of time. And if you still have transactions that you don't want to see on here that are old, you can hide them and remove them. Templated questions. So you can have templated questions to ask your clients. So your team can just select a templated question, say, hey, what is the vendor? What is this for? What is this? Like you can have templated like questions for your clients. Bulk categorizing. So you could select all of these and categorize them in bulk if you wanted to. Auto pushing transactions. So right now, when you view the uncategorized transactions inside of Financial Sense, You have to manually select and say, okay, I want to share these to the client, send them to the client to the portal so the client can view them. But soon, what we're going to allow you to do, if you want to turn this on, is the ability to automatically push transactions. So maybe you could say on the second Friday of the month, automatically push all share uncategorized transactions to the client. And that way you don't have to come in here and manually share them if you prefer to have it automated process. It depends on what each firm owner wants. So that's why we're going to make it optional. Um, let's see, the ability to manually add transactions. So not everyone uses QuickBooks Online. So we're going to allow you to actually import transactions from a spreadsheet so you can ask your clients about those as well. And the ability to create categories, vendors, all from inside Financial Sense if you need to add a vendor or category for some reason. So those are a lot of the big updates that are coming in Recap. There's some more on there too. It's not all of them, but we're going to spend this next month updating that feature a lot and making it very powerful. Let's see if we have some questions. We got a lot of questions. Okay. Um, Karen, I'm not sure about QB Ledger. I would believe QBO Ledger would work. I'd have to check the API documentation though. Any updates on? We plan to have the ability to change classes soon. Um, yes, you can manage which contact gets the transactions. You can do that currently. So when you in the settings, you can choose which contacts on the client gets notified. Also choose which team members get notified, just like we talked about with the folder sharing. Um, So for QuickBooks Desktop, that's where we're going to allow you to import a spreadsheet or manually add the transactions for that. Um, Figure out how to. Donna, that's a good question. If you add the main transactions manually, can you import them into QBO? That's something we have not been asked yet, but it's something we can look into. Okay. So those are some of if you haven't checked out the recap feature, definitely go check it out. We have a lot of documentation on the Help Center. You can reach out to our team. They'd love to demo the product, demo it for you and show how it works. I will say, there are some updates we still want to make it more powerful, but we have firm owners that are already using it. They love it. They're getting answers on their uncategorized transactions quickly, which is the main goal you want here. Looks like let's see what we. So Kira, for the utilization of the platform, we probably plan to release that in Q3, where you can see which functionality you're utilizing and not utilizing from a bird's eye view. I'm gonna make a note. Okay, so the last thing I really want to get some feedback on is notifications. So a lot of you guys, I would love to hear what you think. You probably drop in the chat. You guys think the notifications are overwhelming. And when I mean no notifications, I'm talking about this bell icon. I would bet 99% of you guys have 99 plus notifications up here. Like it's overwhelming. You're getting so many notifications, it's hard to stay on top of it, right? Would you agree? Okay, so we've been thinking a lot on how to make this better. And we have a few ideas, which we are going to implement, which is, if you, let's say you get a notification about a client uploaded documents. If you view these uploaded documents, the notification automatically disappears. Also, if let's say, a client sends multiple documents, it comes in as one notification instead of 10 notifications, which I actually think we are doing. But we're trying to think of a way to really disrupt it or really to really change it up to streamline that. And when we looked at the notifications, what we saw was that majority of the notifications coming in were client notifications. So a client uploads documents to a folder. A client uploads documents to a task. A client makes a comment to a client task. A client completes a client task. Um, a client sends you an update on recategorizations. So a lot of the notifications that were coming in on the bell were client facing, and that's what was causing a lot of that overwhelm. So what we're thinking is consolidating all those notifications on the bell icon. And I created a little mock-up that I want to show you guys so you can visualize what we're thinking about doing. And I want to get your thoughts of if this is better. So let's go to my mockup in Canva if you guys don't use Canva yet. So let's first talk about the in-app notifications. So what we're thinking about doing is consolidating all the different client notifications. So what do I mean? I mean, client uploads documents to a task, client completes a task, comments on a task, uploads a document to a folder, and recats. So instead of getting all these individual notifications in the bell icon, you would just get one notification for when there's a new notification on the client. Even if there's multiple, and it would say, Adeline Collins is our client, has new notifications. So you wouldn't be able to see a detailed view of like all the little ones in the bell icon. But when you click this, I would really like to get your thought on this too. It takes you to a notifications tab on the client's profile. Here you can see all those individualized client notifications, what they commented on, the tasks they completed, the everything. So it keeps this more simplified because now instead of getting 6 different notifications here, you get one, but you go here to see the detailed view. And what we also see is that a lot of you people, like, you go to the client profile anyways to see everything going on with the client. So you'll have this tab here just to see all the recent notifications as well. Okay, so everyone seems to love this. I'm glad. So this is something we actually just thought of today. And I put this together so I could share it with you guys and get your feedback. So it sounds like this is better. Um, so Jennifer has a question about the email notifications. This is the next thing. So we know you guys have an overwhelmed email inbox, and we don't want to send you guys a bunch of emails. So I want to get your thoughts on what do you think about consolidating the client email notifications too? Do you guys think that, okay, some people are saying reduce the emails real quick, yes or no? Do you think it'd be better to reduce the number of email notifications you get from Financial Sense? Okay. So instead of getting, like, even for this example, it would still be a lot if you got, hey, there's new notifications for Adeline Collins and Bob's Boots and Client 3-4 via email. Instead, what we were thinking is you'd get one email. You can choose the cadence. So it's like an email digest. Let's say it's an email every 12 hours or every 24 hours. And it would say you have new notifications. Maybe it'd be better to say for like 18 clients. So you would be able to see that. And then when you click that button, it would take you to this list where you can see all the clients you have notifications for. And then when you click that client, it takes you back to this view where you can see all the individual notifications for that client. So it's one email a day that tells you how many clients you have notifications for. When you click it, it tells you all the clients that have the new updates. And then when you click each client, you can see all the individualized notifications. So that helps with the client emails. Okay, got a lot of good feedback. So we can't have the email list the clients because we can only display a certain number of clients. So there could be an issue where, like, let's say we can only list 10 clients. It would say 10 and then and more. So if we can't list all of them in the beginning, we thought that this would be the best method. So this is a really great question. So Well, actually, real quick before I ask this, are you guys okay with this email? Like, is it okay that we're not listing all the individual clients? Because that's not possible for us. Is it okay just to give you the number of clients and then take you to see? Okay, perfect. So um, let's talk about other notifications. So this helps with the client notifications, right? Like if a client uploads a document, completes a task, folder, recat, etc. But there's still other notifications. So in the bell, what we're thinking about is the types of notifications you'll see is the client updates. So like I showed you, it says Adeline Collins has a new notification. Due date reminders. So if you set like the due date reminders for specific due dates, you'll get those still. Mentions. So if someone mentions you, you'll still get that notification in the bell icon and comments on projects or notes. Now I think this is the makes sense on the in-app, but let's go to email. So a question is, do you guys still want to get email notifications? Not this one, right? But an individual notification for every time you get mentioned on a project. Do you guys still want to get individual email notifications for that? Yes or no? So what if, so there's only a few people that have, some people say I don't want emails at all. So would you guys prefer a summary? Like, would you prefer an email every 12 or 24 hours that says you were mentioned on 24 projects? So, okay, real quick, yes or no? Would you prefer the summary over it? Okay, summary. Okay. So I assume that's the same for comments. Um, do they run? Okay, so let's now talk about an important one, which is dependencies. This is not just for you, this is for your team members too. So let's think about it. So dependency is when you have a dependent, or not dependencies, but inside financial sense, you don't have to set a dependency for this. So inside financial sense, why is he signed? Okay. So when work is being completed and someone is up next, it automatically notifies them. So in this example, when Ace finishes this task, Will automatically be notified inside the app and via email that uh, he can begin this task. This happens automatically when work switches hands. Do you guys still want individual emails for that notification? Or do you want a summary for that? So, okay, so people, you still want those to be individualized? No, both individual. Individual seems to be winning. I might have to do a poll on this. Actually, I wonder if I can create a poll real quick. Um, polls. Yeah, let's do a poll. Um, okay, I just typed this up. So I just launched a poll. So basically, when a task is ready for a team member to begin, would you rather it be individual or summary email? So like how it would look is like if I was a team member, I would get an email at the end of the day saying you have 4 tasks that are ready to begin. Or instead, throughout the day, they would have got 4 emails that said, this monthly bookkeeping project for Adeline Collins is ready. This tax return for Bob's Boots is ready. It's pretty close, actually. About 50-50. Okay. So maybe there's an option to choose in this poll. Okay. So the other thing is if we go back to Canva, let me ask you this. Do you still want them to get notified inside the app about when the like the up next task when it switches hands. Because in reality, when this happens, like when this happens and it's ready now, like Ace completes this and Will's ready to begin, it's going to show on his workflow dashboard. So do you still think he needs an in-app notification, even though it's showing on his dashboard that this task is ready to begin? Okay, it looks like there's some yeses, there's some nos. Might have to launch another poll here to see. Um, okay, so what we would do is we would allow the ability, it sounds like by default, we would have no, but you could turn it on to notify inside the app. Um, okay. Okay. Due date reminders, comments on projects. So mentions, remind me, you guys wanted a summary. All right, let's do another poll. Uh, uh, so let's do another one. Okay. So I'm gonna launch this one. This one I'm asking about mentions. So let's say you get mentioned on projects. Would you rather a summary email like every 12 or 24 hours, like you were mentioned on in 4 places, or would you prefer individual emails like Jonathan mentioned you this and it just shows what they said. Jonathan or Stacy mentioned you on this, it shows what it said. Summary email or individual emails for mentions. This isn't for comments, but we'd probably do the same thing for comments. Okay. Okay. This is good. I like that we can do this polls. All right. So that's very helpful. Let me see if I had any other questions. Projects ready for review. Okay, my last question is, instead of sending 4 individual summaries, like one summary for, there's this many client updates, there was this many mentions. What if we just had one email, right? So one email that said, you have new notifications for 18 clients, you have 15 mentions, you have, etc. Like just keep it one consolidated daily notification for emails, but the option to make individual. Okay. That makes sense. So these are some of the ideas we're thinking of. It sounds like this is definitely going to solve the notification problem via email and app. And I think this is going to be a good start. I think we can go deeper with it as we release it, make it better, but I think this will definitely help with the notification problem. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for being so interactive today. Let me stop my share. The chat was blowing up. I got a lot of really good feedback. The polls that you answered were very helpful. I'm glad I've made that so we could go through that today. But I hope you guys enjoyed the new updates. If you guys have any other questions, if I did not get to your questions, go to our chat box inside the app. You can talk to someone on our team. They can provide more context. But until then, I'll see you guys next month or in the Facebook group. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, make sure to join it. We have conversations with our customers there. You can talk to other customers. We get a lot of great feedback. So if you're not in it, go to Facebook, Financial Sense User Group. But until then, I'll see you guys next month. Take care, everyone.